Good morning, grade fives. I hope you are well. Today is Thursday, which means we are doing social science and life skills. So, we're going to start off with social science geography. So, I want you to open up your social science platinum book on page 7 for me, please. Okay, so read with me. Africa, our continent. Oceans, countries, and main cities. So this is a political map of Africa on this page. A political map shows the borders between countries as well as capital cities and other major cities within the different countries. Okay. The oceans around Africa. The huge stretches of ocean on either side of Africa are the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean lies to the west between Africa and America. The Indian Ocean lies to the east between Africa and India. The two smallest stretches of sea are the Mediterranean Sea to the north and the Red Sea to the northeast. Okay. So let's look on page 8. Let's go through our new words. The first word is border. Now, a border is a line dividing two countries or areas. A coastline is land that follows the edges of the sea. Landlocked is a country that is surrounded by land, not having a coastline. Capital city is the most important city in a country or a region. Okay, countries and borders. Africa is the second biggest continent in the world. Asia is the biggest. It has 54 countries. Each country has its own government and leader. Countries on the continent of Africa all have borders. A border marks the place where one country ends and another country begins. Borders between countries are shown as red lines on most maps. South Africa shares border lines with 6 neighboring countries. Those neighboring countries are Botswana, Lesotho, Mozambique, Namibia, Swaziland, and Zimbabwe. Many countries have coastlines. They have the sea along one of their borders. Some countries have no coastline. They are landlocked. A country may also be an island on its own. Madagascar is an example of a country that is also an island. Other countries may be part of a bigger continent and also have islands that are part of the country. Zanzibar is an island that is part of Tanzania. Capital cities of South Africa and neighboring countries. Every country has a capital city. This is usually where the government meets. Look at the map on page 7 to find the capital cities of South Africa's neighboring countries. South Africa has 2 capital cities, Pretoria and Cape Town. People in South Africa's national government spend half of the year in each of these 2 cities. Now, there's a beautiful picture of Johannesburg in South Africa, one of the biggest cities, but it is not a capital city. So, for geography for today, you have to do activity 4 on page 9. Okay, so this is basically about that map on page 7. Then you should also start studying for class test 1. So, all of the keywords or new words are really important to study. It's just a small class test that we will be doing next week. Okay, now let's go to history. I want you to open up on page 93. The San Hunter-Gatherer Society in the later Stone Age. The sun lived off of the environment. Okay, so here's a couple of new keywords as well. First one is Stone Age. Now this is the time, thousands of years ago, during which people made tools out of stone. The environment is the natural world of land, water, air, and plants. Hunter-gatherers are people who hunt wild animals and collect wild plant food to eat. Nomadic is people who have no fixed home and move from place to place in search of food and water. Okay, read with me. We already know that the San were the first people to live in South Africa. The San made tools out of stone. The time in history when people made tools out of stone is called the Stone Age. The son of the Stone Age lived off of the environment. They were called hunter-gatherers because they lived off of the land. The men hunted for wild animals, for meat, and the women gathered wild honey and plants from nuts, roots, and fruits. In the dry season, water was hard to find. Women dug holes in the sand to find water. They also scraped and squeezed roots for moisture. They stored water in ostrich egg shells. The hole was sealed with a grass or a clay plug. Now here's a beautiful picture of a San woman drinking water from an ostrich egg shell. So they stored their water in these ostrich egg shells. We can see here on page 94, there's a couple of shells and they are buried and left for a long time so the water stays inside. So they use the water when the water gets scarce. Okay. There's another picture of a San man hunting an ostrich. And then at the top of page 95, San hunter-gatherers live off the veldt as the men in the photograph are doing. Okay, so it looks like they are digging for roots. Okay. All San hunter-gatherers did these things. So there are 4 things that all of them did. They got their food and water from the environment. They did not grow crops or keep animals. They did very little to damage the environment, and they made tools from stone and bone, so animal bone. Okay. The San lived in small groups. The San were nomadic. They moved around in search of food and did not settle in one place. They lived in small groups or families. They had very few belongings. Hunter-gatherers shared what they had. By sharing, they avoided jealousy, and everyone was equal to everyone else. Okay, now you just have this one activity to do, activity 4 on page 95, which is basically about everything we just read. Then once again you will do a class test for history, basically about all of the key words that we have covered so far. Okay, now let's move on to life skills. Now, you only have one activity to do for life skills, but we are going to read together. So I want you to open up your life skills book on page 8. Giving and receiving back. So let's quickly look at our keywords. Positive means helpful, encouraging, or constructive. Feedback is response or comment. Negative is bad, harmful, or damaging. Positive and negative feedback. What people say to others is important, but the way they say it is also important. The teacher says what she likes about the project and what is good about it. Then she says what could be changed or fixed. So let's quickly look at the picture next to this text and see what the teacher says. Your project is very neatly done and I like the colors you have used, but your drawing on page 3 is not accurate. Okay. The learner feels positive about what is right about the project and so feels more confident about fixing what is not right. If the teacher doesn't first say what she likes about the project, the learner might feel that everything is wrong and that she can't do anything right. So let's quickly read there at the bottom. The little girl says, "Thank you, I tried my best. The drawing was difficult to do. Could you show me how to fix it?" When the learner feels that not everything about the project is bad, it is easier to ask for help. Remember, when we give someone feedback, we could try to say something positive first. When we receive negative feedback, we should remind ourselves of the things that are good and then try to fix or sort out the things that are not right. If someone has given us positive feedback, we need to let the person know that we have noticed that. What did the learner say to the teacher to let her know this? She said, "Thank you," right? Okay, now you need to do activity 2.2. Write what you would say in each of these situations. Okay, so there is 3 scenarios and you need to answer the questions about these scenarios. So how would you react? What would you say? How would it make you feel? And how would you do something maybe different? Okay, so that is the only activity for life skills because the other activities are group activities which we cannot do, unfortunately, since we are not together. So that is all for today. If you have any questions, feel free to WhatsApp me at any time or you can join us on MS Teams.